called How Much of the Web is Archived? And this is from a group of researchers at the Old Dominion University, and our presenter today is AlSum.
Hello everybody. Our work today is entitled How Much of the Web is Archived. This work has been done by the Web Science Special Library Group in Old Dominion University. The idea of the work depends on the idea that if we imagine that this is the World Wide Web, how much of this could we mark as archive? This is the main idea about the research. Let's take an example about what do you think about CNN.com? Do you think it's archived? Actually, it's archived with more than 8,000 copies during the time, I think, from 1996 until now. What do you think about another homepage? For example, my homepage. Oops, it doesn't have any archive copies. It brings to us the question that, do the research question of that, what is the percentage of the World Wide Web that is already archived, and if it's archived, with how many copies that is existing. Actually, to start to make this quantitative study, we selected 4 sources, 4 sample sets of different 4 sources from the most delicious Bentley and search engine, with each sample set contains 1,000 URI. Everything is for the most open directory project. Instead of just getting the last snapshot of the most archive, we select all the snapshots from the demos. It's around 100 snapshots from July 2000 until October 2010, and we started to merge sort and remove the duplicate and select randomly 1,000 URI. On this part, you will find how what is the HTTP status of these URIs. You will find here around 20% of these URI are still alive, and on the bottom of the slide, you will find how much is indexed by the different search engine, by Bing, Yahoo. We have different results between the Google API and the Google Web. We thought it would be better to include both of them. You will find here around 50% of these URIs are indexed by a search engine. The other source of URI is the delicious. We select the recent bookmarks, and we use the random generator from the delicious itself and select 1,000 URI. Here you will find that around a large number, a very large percentage of these URI are already active on the web, because it's recent, by the way, and also indexed by search engine. The third source of URIs is Bitly. Bitly, we use that Bitly slash and some digits after the slash. We use the random generator to generate this random hash and the reference with Bitly to make sure this is a real URI, and we select 1,000 URI by this technique. We will find here around 70% of this URI or less are active on the web, but unfortunately it's not indexed by this percentage. The indexing by search engine are very low. Last technique is using sampling from search engine. We select this technique from various paper. Actually, we use the Yahoo Post API to generate the queries and get the URIs. Also, we find here a lot of these URI are active on the web, but the coverage difference between the different search engines. By this technique, we get 4 sample set, each one with URI. Let's go to the experiment. The idea here is that how much of this URI is archived. For each URI, we use the Memento aggregator. Memento is a project between Los Angeles and Old Dominion University. We use the Memento aggregator. For each URI, it retrieves a full list of all the archived copy, or what we call the memento, all the possible mementos on the different type of archives. Actually, the returning list we call the time map. It's something like that, the memento or archived copy with it. So for each one of these 4,000 URI, we retrieve this list of URIs, of archived copy or memories. Let's go to the result. For first one, here is zero archive for the first column. It means number of mementos. Here is for the first archive. Here you will find that for the demos you will find 10% not archived. For the deletions 3%. But for Bitly you will find 65 of these URI are not archived. Doesn't have any mementos or any archives at all. Not even search engine. We search engine cache. Here we use search engine cache as a kind of archive. On the other hand, you will find for the demos, for example, you will find 63% of the URI on the demos has more than 10 copies or more than 10 mementos exist. We try to understand the result in details. We try to categorize these archives on three different three categories. Number one is Internet archive, the classical interface before the new interface that exists now, and search engine cache, and the other archive, some list of other archives. For this graph, let's explain the graph first. For the x-axis, you will find the timeline from 96 until 2000, and for the y-axis, you will find the URI. So this is URI number 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. For any dot in this URI, for example, for this dot, it means that for this URI around the URI number 100, for example, it has an archived copy on this date, and the color on this copy will the color will explain to you, and the color will explain the source of this archive, the source of this memory.
Stickers on your chair.
We started doing that last session also.
And the source and the color of each and the color of dot refers to the source of this URI. Of course, the gold is the third archive, the blue is search engine, and zero is other archive. So if you look horizontally, you will see that the distribution of, for example, this URI, how many copies through the line and with each date, and vertically you will find the concentration of the memento per date. Here is the graph for to compare between the four sources. Here you will find that even the both delicious and demos and delicious provide good percentage and coverage for the archive. For the Bitly, you will find it very low, even not even by the search engine cache. You will find all this list, all these list of URIs are has no archives at all. With the search engine, it has a better, but depends on the search engine cache. Also, you find that the other archives work is fine in this area for the delicious. Okay, is it enough to understand the number? We will try to think that is the number of archived copy related or consistent with the date or the age of this page. We try to make an estimate for the creation date of this URI and try to draw this graph to understand this phenomenon. On the x-axis, you will find this the URI estimated URI creation date, and here you will find the number of, on the y-axis, the number of mementos. For example, for this dot, it means that one of the URIs that we estimate that this creation date is 2005, it has one memento. What we can conclude from this graph, we try to put three lines here to as indicator. Anything above this line, it means that it has more than one archive, one memento per month. It has one more memento per month. We don't have still enough information about is this consistent with the contented change of this web page or not. Here is a comparison between the different sources. Even here we have by maximum for the remote and Fiddly, around 15% of the archived copy is once per month. Here is for the deletion search engine we have better percentage of the frequency of the archive copy in relation to the age of the page. Okay. What we can analyze from these results? Number one, for the what mainly affects the archival rate. Number one, the URI source. We think that the more popular is you can have more archive, and to understand that we try to get the backlinks as an estimate of the popularity, but we find positive weak relation between the number of backlinks and the number of mementos. Finally, you find that the archive coverage, internet archive is the best. Search engine cache provide good performance, but with only one copy for each search engine, and it's very recent in most cases. And the other archives works well and cover a good percentage, but with a small fraction of the way, but with the same copy. Let's go to the question: how much is the URL? How much is the web archive? Okay, the answer it depends on the URI source. Here is we try to figure out the results. We include two columns, one including search engine cache and the other one without including search engine cache. You will find here that the numbers moves between 30%, 35 for Spitly until 90 and 97 for the delicious. Removing search engine cache without will make these number are very low. Okay. Questions?
For the Bitly URIs, did you use the original Bitly URI or the URI that was redirected to?
The redirected one. After getting the URI, we try to reference it and getting this URI and search on the archive.
What was your definition of popularity? Was it PageRank or?
Actually, we tried to make some study about PageRank to compare between the PageRank and the number of mementos or the number of archived copies. And by this way, we try to take the backlinks as a phenomena or a feature of the popularity, but the result was not very related. It was weak positive relation between both of them. We couldn't verify more than this feature. We are trying to study more what affects the number of mementos or what affects the archival rate of these URIs by different techniques, and mainly for the Bitly because the number of the Bitly are very low, and we are trying now to study why the Bitly doesn't have this percentage of archive or has a large number of URIs are not archived.
Any questions? So I have one more bit conjectural. In the keynote today, our speaker talked about the idea of trying to assess value of pages and to preserve only those pages that are of high value because we have to stop preserving everything. So do you think that there's an effect here of an assessment of value, or do you think there's something else going on?
The idea is that if we think from the archives perspective and how they get the seed of these URIs. For example, Internet Archive gets from demos and different places. For the National Archives, only depend on their domain. For the Governmental Archive, depend on only the governmental site. So I think that this kind of importance, or what we think the popularity, or something related to this, something affects the